And growth continues to be the hallmark of Oklahoma's wind industry. The state is now second in the nation for wind energy production. The boom comes despite pushback from critics who believe past incentives for wind energy were too generous and who want the industry to play a bigger role in helping to solve Oklahoma's budget problems.
2017 was a banner year for Oklahoma's wind industry. According to a report released by the American Wind Energy Association this week, Oklahoma had nearly 7,500 megawatts of installed wind power capacity at the end of the year, trailing only Texas with more than 22,000 megawatts of capacity. Representatives of several electric utilities met with lawmakers at an energy summit in the Capitol this week to discuss the economic impact of alternative sources of energy on the state's economy. Ray Rice with OG&E says while most of the company's electricity is produced with natural gas and coal, renewables, including wind and solar power, make up about 11%. Asked whether the company has any plans to increase its reliance on renewable energy, Rice said that's up to consumers.
When our customers want the power, they don't care whether the sun's shining or whether the wind's blowing. They want their iPhone charged. They want their electric oven to work.
Jim Evers with Public Service Company of Oklahoma says wind energy makes up 22% of its power, and he sees renewable sources of energy as an increasingly important part of the mix for power generation.
I see natural gas as still remaining incredibly viable and probably the cornerstone of energy, but renewables are not only clean and cheap, quite frankly, they're being demanded from our customers.
Wind energy's growth has come at a price due to tax incentives the state has given the industry in the past. The Wind Coalition's Mark Yates told lawmakers the industry has worked with the legislature to roll back those incentives.
We feel like, as an industry, we have worked very well with this body and said, look, we understand where the state is, and we're going to work with you to sunset those incentives. And now we're incentive-free.
Still, there have been suggestions the industry should be doing more to help balance the state's books. One proposal currently being considered would add a gross production tax on wind energy generation, similar to what oil and gas producers in the state pay. Wind industry officials argue a gross production tax on wind should only be considered in lieu of ad valorem taxes that wind companies currently pay.
I think it's important to note as the body considers tax structures for wind in the future, we also have to look at how all other power generation is taxed today. We are invested locally. That's where our ad valorem dollars are staying, and we're seeing a tremendous impact on local communities, counties, and schools.
Yates says ad valorem taxes paid by the industry impact 65 school districts in Oklahoma. Still, he agrees wind should be part of the conversation when it comes to finding new revenue to fill the state's budget hole.
We're willing to have that dialogue and that discussion. And I think that's kind of where it is right now, even with elected officials, is, where do we go from here? Because, regardless of what other things are going to be voted on, it's very important that we take our time and really think through of how we want this tax structure to be in the future.
Yates says the wind industry is currently the biggest taxpayer in 14 counties, with payments of about $36 million annually for land leases.